The Papa Geoff's America program is made possible by contributions from listeners like you. Thank you. If you'd like to buy Papa Geoff a cup of coffee, visit us on the web at support.papageoffusa.com. Papa Geoff's America, the talk radio podcast, continuing the conversation, one podcast at a time. Radio time from Houston, Texas, broadcasting around the country and around the world. Welcome to the Papa Geoff's America program. We're the talk radio podcast that discusses the stuff and things that you want to talk about. The talk radio podcast continuing the conversation, one podcast at a time. Inspiring guests, insightful commentary, and what would a day be without Papa Geoff's classic old guy humor, right? So, here's the guy that has trouble seeing the big E on the eye chart. The guy that some would say has a unique sense of humor, and the guy that definitely has a face for radio. Here's Mr. Here We Go himself, PG the OG, Papa Geoff. Welcome to Papa Geoff's America. This is the Talk Radio Podcast, continuing the conversation, one podcast at a time. I'm Papa Geoff, and this is Papa Geoff's America. Now, March 29th is the next big day for these guys. Steady Rollin has a new single coming out. It's called Must I Die Alone. It's going to be on all the major streaming platforms, so be sure to check it out. And in the meantime, your Steady Rollin Central Control is at steadyrollinband.com. That's Rollin, R-O-L-L-I-N, steadyrollinband.com. You can find everything Steady Rollin right there. Steady Rollin is an amazing blues rock band that is Benjamin Andrade on percussion, Gerardo Pardo on bass, and Fernando Poma on guitar and vocals. Our very special guest today is that very same Fernando Poma, and he's going to be joining us in just a few minutes. Hey, it's a cloudy 57 degrees at the OG Radio Studios in H-Town, Space City, Houston, Texas, the city with no limits. We are Houston strong. This is the Papa Geoff's America program. We are the Talk Radio Podcast, continuing the conversation, one podcast at a time. Coming up for us after the break, Fernando Poma, Steady Rollin. Next. Hey guys, our guest today is Mr. Fernando Poma from the Steady Rollin Band. They are a blues rock band from El Salvador. So we have another international guest today. We are so happy that he is here. Steady Rollin has some great stuff that's out there right now. They've got some new stuff that's coming out. And I am so pleased that Fernando is with us today, taking some time out of his busy day to share what the band is doing. Fernando, welcome to the program. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks, Geoff. Super happy to be here.
I read some things on your bio, and Steady Rollin is an awesome group of people. I have Jennifer was nice enough to send me an MP3 of you guys' new single that's coming out. It is amazing, and we are going to add it into the broadcast. I told her I wasn't able to play it or have it backgrounded in the actual recording, but we would put it in post, and it is amazing. I'm not the record guy per se, just the one that wanted to be the record guy when I was growing up, but never made it onto the radio. But it's a hit. I'll tell you, this is great stuff. You guys definitely got something going on there.
Thanks, Geoff. Appreciate it.
So tell me a little bit about what's, a little bit about your history. You and I actually had a short conversation off air before we got going on, kind of about your genesis and the band's genesis. Expand on that a little bit.
Yeah. So I was born in El Salvador in the 70s. And I grew up listening to classic rock, the Beatles, the Stones, the Kinks, the Who, Eric Clapton, all the stuff my parents listened to. And when I was a little boy, I wanted to be a rock star. That's what I wanted to be, and then life took me in a different direction. And I actually went into business, and I studied hotel management, and then went to work in Europe for a while, then got a master's degree. But I always had that little thorn picking at me, like music. And I played in a lot of bands when I was growing up in high school. I went to high school in the U.S. and then college in the U.S. and then continued playing with bands in Europe. But I went into business, and then when I turned 40, I believe, I said, life has passed so quickly, and it's now or never. If I'm ever going to accomplish this dream, it has to be now. So I found an old guitar, a Fender Strat, and I restrung it, and I started seeing that my fingers still worked, and practicing, and eventually started playing with a bunch of musicians until I found two that really clicked in terms of compatibility, in terms of type of music, and we sounded good together, because you can have good musicians that simply don't sound good together, and you can have musicians that really do. And we wanted to do a trio because we wanted the most authentic version of music, especially playing live. We didn't want to sort of hide anything behind a lot of different instruments, but just be authentic, zero effects, zero pedals, so that's the way we have been playing. And we started writing music and playing to small audiences live, and eventually over time things started picking up, and now we're playing to larger audiences, and very happy to be finishing. Well, we have finished our second album. Our first album is called Love and Loss. Our second is called Stories. We finished that, and we're about to put out our first single of that second album. I'm very excited to be here.
That is absolutely great, guys. Like I said, I have just listened to that new single. It's called Must I Die Alone, and it's happening for sure. You guys are going to love it. Yeah, you guys definitely have it going on, and Fernando, I definitely can appreciate that history. Life is fleeting; it absolutely is, and you got to do what makes you happy. And not everything is going to make everybody $1 bazillion, and some people it does, and some people it doesn't. But you got to be happy because life is fleeting. Life is short. We all have our things of what's happened in our lives for sure, but you don't. You don't really want to. Everybody has regrets, I think, as they get older, but you definitely don't want to do that. So, try and limit your regrets and whatever. And I'm sure COVID is affecting some of what's going on with you guys, huh?
Yeah, well, it has, but it's been rough in terms of not playing live, but it's also been a blessing because COVID has given us a chance to really be creative and to write a lot more. And we've put out maybe written about 8 songs during this COVID period, and that's been great. And also to reevaluate your life, and I mean in a lot of ways. I mean, COVID has allowed me at least to reevaluate, my priorities, and also to um, reach out to a lot of people that I hadn't before, so it has its pros and cons in a lot of ways. But for us musically, we've written a lot of music and we're just so eager to play live again.
I think that's great that's a lot has happened in the last year's time, and some bad things have happened to a lot of people, that's for sure.
Mm.
Our COVID death count here in the States is over 500,000, which is very unfortunate.
Yeah,
And
terrible.
not to get political, but now things seem to be getting back under control. We're waiting on the vaccine. In my case, waiting on the vaccine, and things are going to get back to normal, if you will, or whatever the new normal is going to be. But I appreciate you noting that there's positives in there for sure, that it's given you guys the opportunity. Well, we've written more music and we're looking ahead, and we're kind of making the best of a bad situation, but you guys are doing more than that. You're not making the best of it, you're making the best of the best. And I think that's great. You're very positive, and that comes out in the music, and that's definitely just going to add to your success with what you and the band are doing. That's great. I can definitely understand what you're saying, that you can play with great musicians, you can have them together, but if the sound or the it doesn't click, it's just not the best that it could be. But you guys have it clicks. It definitely does. And guys, when you listen to their music, you're definitely going to hear it. When you guys do get back on the road and start your touring, are there any upcoming things? Probably aren't locked in stone yet, but what's the plan ongoing for you guys?
Well, initially, we want to start playing back in El Salvador. And once we have that, maybe 5 or 6 months after that, start, going outside again, maybe to Costa Rica where we've played, or Colombia where we've played, or some other countries, I mean, and so starting to travel again, maybe by the end of the year, hopefully.
Boy, if you get to Houston, and someplace close to Houston, really any place over here in the States,
Mhm.
you have Jennifer, let me know, because we're going to be there. We're going to
Thank you. Thank
definitely
you.
check it out.
Thanks, man.
It's great. Your new single that is coming out, it is the first single off the second album, and it's coming out March 29th. It's called Must I Die Alone? What's the story behind that?
Well, it's funny because we just, I mean, how things worked out. We were speaking about regrets, and it's a song about regrets. It's a song about a guy who is a fisherman in a boat, and they hit a very, very hard storm, and he is thinking about the people he left behind. He doesn't know if he's going to make it or not. Um, the boat is sort of going out of control with this storm and the waves and the wind, and it's about him thinking about the people he left behind, and thinking that he should have told them or expressed more of his love towards them, or how he felt, or done certain things that he feels maybe too late, maybe too late. So we don't know if he makes it or not at the end of the song, but it's a song that gives you sort of a little nudge to, it sounds like a cliche, but to really express the things and do the things that you want while we're still around, because one day we might find ourselves in a situation that's, where we can't really turn back. So he's thinking about his wife, he's thinking about his family, he's thinking about stuff he left behind, and he's wondering, must I die alone? Must I die alone in this storm? And that's what the song is about. It's a rock song.
And like I said, I have heard it. Jennifer was kind enough to send me the MP3 on it. It is amazing. I certainly enjoy it. I know our audience is going to enjoy it. It's very, the story behind it is certainly apropos to the times for sure, because there have been people in the COVID situation that have unfortunately had to pass away without family.
Yeah.
Not necessarily without. Nurses are passionate about being with people, and that's, I don't want to go down that rabbit hole, but certainly that the theme and the title of the new single is very, it's catchy, but it's appropriate. Must I Die Alone, guys, is the new single that's coming out on March 29th. And Fernando, how do folks find your music?
Okay.
What platforms? How do they find you? How do they follow you? How do they stay in contact with you guys? Because I know once they hear this, they're definitely going to want to connect.
We have our music on YouTube. It's important to just say that Steady Rollin is it's spelled steady, and then the second word is Rollin with an N, without a G and without an apostrophe, just Rollin. So Steady Rollin, that's it. And we're on YouTube. We have a lot of videos on YouTube. We have all our music on YouTube, except the stuff that's coming out. We have some live concerts there. We are on Spotify. We're on iTunes. We're on Deezer. We're on all the musical electronic platforms. And then you can also follow our Facebook page under Steady Rollin, and our Instagram page. And also, I personally have an Instagram page at Fernando Poma 1. That's my Instagram page, and I'd be delighted to share with you guys. Anytime you want to write to us or ask us a question or check out our videos, just super delighted to be able to share with all the friends that are listening to us.
Absolutely. Thank you for that. We are going to put all of that information into our show notes so people can follow and listen, watch, and connect with you guys. And I don't know that our show has done all of that yet on all the pointing and clicking, but we will do that. And just amazing. You guys have a bright future ahead of you. I'm glad that we were able to connect today. And you guys just keep doing what you're doing, because it's doing nothing but getting better. And it's great. Guys, our guest today has been Fernando Poma from El Salvador, with quite a very rich musical history, rich education history. Steady Rollin, Rollin, with a new single coming out March 29th, Must I Die Alone. Fernando, thanks again for coming on. Best of everything to you guys.
Appreciate it.
All right. We definitely appreciate you guys. This is the Papa Jeff's America program. We are the Talk Radio Podcast, continuing the conversation one podcast at a time. Joining us today for the Papa Jeff's America program. Check out more episodes of the Talk Radio Podcast at papajeffusa.com. You can subscribe through the link on our website or wherever you get your podcasts. We're on all the major platforms. papajeffusa.com is your home for everything Papa Jeff. Anytime, any device. And while you're there, you can check out more episodes of the broadcast, check out the OG Corner, get in contact with us, and you can easily link to all of our social media. We do want to hear from you. Your thoughts, comments, and suggestions are what make this program happen. So send us an email on our website, papajeffusa.com. Please help us to get the word out and share our broadcast on all of your social media, because sharing is caring. And speaking of caring, if you'd like to help us coffee up here at the Talk Radio Podcast, give a click to the Buy Me a Coffee link. You know how much Papa Jeff loves his coffee. Hey guys, remember to wear a mask if you're going out. Practice that social distancing. Wash your hands frequently. Get the vaccine when it's your turn. And let's all do the right thing and take care of each other. Remember, disagree doesn't mean dislike. We're all in this together. Thanks again for joining us, and bring a friend with you next time. We're looking forward to seeing you next time on the Talk Radio Podcast, continuing the conversation, one podcast at a time.